I swear I wasn't looking for trouble. I was just watering my plants, minding my own business when he walked outside, shirtless of course, mourning my neighbor. Ethan said, stretching like a Greek statue in desperate need of a towel, Inaudited pretending not to notice the way the sun caught every muscle on his body. I had a husband. I had a mortgage. I had Avery active imagination. I turned back toward my house, but gnawed before Hess smirked and said, "Your flowers are drowning." I looked down. Yap hose still running, water gushing my entire flower bed, looking like it had just survived. A tsunami. Fantastic. It started innocent, enough a friendly wave here. A casual chat about the neighborhood's ridiculous. Who rules? Then, one evening, he knocked on my door. I made too much. "Dinner?" he said, holding up a plate of something that smelled sinfully. "Good thought you might. Want some?" I hesitated for a second. My husband was out of town for work, and I'd planned to eat something sad and microwavable in front of a reality so I'd never admit to watching. "Sure," I said, stepping aside. Bad idea. We ate. We talked. We laughed. And then somewhere between, the second glass of wine in the way. He watched me over the rim of his glass. The air in the room changed. I knew that look. It was the kind of look that made a woman's stomach flip, that made her fingers twitch with the urge to do something reckless. I should have said. Goodnight should have taken the plate, thanked him, and locked the door instead. I let the silence stretch thick and buzzing with things unsaid. His eyes flickered to my lips. I licked them, without thinking. "You're playing with fire," he murmured, his voice low. Teasing. My heart pounded so hard I was sure he could hear it. Maybe I wanted him to. And then I did something stupid. I leaned. Ina, breath apart now, the moment stretched, a tight row between right and wrong. Then my phone rang. I practically jumped out of my skin. My husband's name flashed on the screen. Ethan exhaled a soft laugh, shaking his head as he leaned back. "You should get that," he said. "Standing up dinner was great. Maybe next time I'll actually get to dessert." He winked, took his plate, and walked out the door. I let the call go to voicemail. I told myself. It was nothing, just a harmless moment. A flicker of temptation, easily snuffed out. But the problem with temptation, once it sinks its teeth in it, doesn't let go. The next morning, I was determined to avoid him. I wasn't some desperate housewife, with no self-control. I had a marriage life. I wasn't going to ruin it over a man who smelled like cedarwood and bad decisions. Then I opened my front door, and there he was, jogging past my house shirtless again, because apparently that was just his thing. He slowed, grinning, mourning. I froze, mourning. He tilted at his head. Didn't answer. "Your phone last night." I blinked. "You were watching you." Practically threw it across the room. When it rang, he smirked. "Thought maybe your husband was calling to tell you he was coming home early." I should have shut. The door walked away instead. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Disappointed, his grin widened. "Wouldn't say that this man was dangerous, not in the criminal record kind of way, but in the ruin your good sense just by breathing near you kind of way." Days passed, and like an idiot I kept playing with fire, a conversation here, a glance, there a laugh that lingered too long. Then one evening it escalated. I was sitting on my back porch drinking wine and pretending I wasn't waiting for him to come outside. It was ridiculous. I wasn't some struck teenager, but then couldn't sleep. I nearly knocked over my glass. Ethan leaned against the fence that separated our yards, looking like heck new. Exactly what I was thinking. I tried to play it cool, just enjoying the night. He climbed over the fence, like it was nothing, and sat down across from me, stretching out his long legs. "Mind if I join?" Yes, I minded. But my mouth, untrustworthy as ever, said, "Suit yourself." We talked, we drank, and then the air changed again, thick and buzzing. "You know, this is a bad idea," he murmured. I swallowed hard. "Then why are you still here?" His lips quirked. Why are you letting me stay? I had no answer for that, and when he reached out, tucking a loose strand of hair behind my ear, I stopped. Thinking altogether, his fingers lingered, tracing the edge of my jaw like he was memorizing it. I should have pulled away, should have laughed it off, made some excuse, gone inside. But I didn't. I just sat there, heart hammering, breath shallow, letting the moment stretch into something dangerous. "You're not stopping me," he murmured. I wasn't, and we both knew it. Then headlights flashed across the yard. I jumped back so fast, I nearly knocked over the wine bottle. Ethan exhaled a quiet laugh, shaking his head as he stood, saved by the lights. I looked toward the street. It wasn't my husband, just a random car passing by. But the reality of what I was about to do hit me like a freight train. I turned back to Ethan, my pulse still racing. This can't happen. He studied me for a moment, then smirked. "You sure I wasn't?" Not even a little. But I nodded anyway. He took a step back, hands up in surrender. "All right," another step. "But just so you know," he hesitated, grinning. "You're a terrible liar with that." He hopped back over the fence and disappeared into the night. He sat there for a long time, staring at the empty space where he'd been, my skin still tingling from his touch, and I knew, without a doubt, this wasn't over.